going to make it a priority to get this watch on video. So this is my personal purchase. This is a older vintage. I don't know what you want to classify it as, but it's an older model from Casio. It's called the DEP-700 or DEP-700. There's been some models prior to this, like the DEP-600, that led up to this one, but I was on a rabbit hole search one evening and I landed looking for one of these. Sadly, I get very impulsive on these rabbit hole searches and I try to find the best example. Well, I pretty much found the best example at that time on eBay, and I paid $450, and I think it came from Japan, if I'm not mistaken. That's probably a little overpaying for this. You should be able to score these in varying conditions for around the $200 mark. So yeah, it doesn't matter to me too much other than the fact that, you know, I overspent. But because I'm looking at this watch as an end user, meaning that I like this watch so much, I wasn't sure until I got it in hand, but now that I have it in hand, I like this watch so much that I have zero intention of selling this watch. And I know I've said that about other watches and then sold them, but no, this one's not going anywhere. It's just too dang cool. I've toyed around. I had that Citizen Hyper Aqualand back in the day, and then honestly, I miss that watch. I really do enjoy that watch. But this Casio resonates with me even more because I am ultimately a Casio or G-Shock fanboy way more than I am a Citizen fanboy. As cool as that Hyper Aqualand was, this one is cooler, and I found it on a rabbit hole search. I didn't see this out in the wild and then go like, oh, I'm gonna go look for one of those. I went searching, I don't even remember how it started. I need to document how I start these rabbit hole searches sometimes, but this is where I landed. So let's cover the watch real quick, size and weight and all that stuff, and then we'll just take a closer look at it. So I measured, to be fair, because we can't measure this big old sensor or this little bump here, which would be like a button guard, not a crown guard. So I measured the case from here to here. To be fair, like I do all the other watches, I measure at 42.75 millimeter. The crown, or the lug width, or what is that? That's the width from here to here, whatever, the wingspan, is 49.7. 49.74, right in there. The thickness, it's actually pretty thick. This watch doesn't wear as big as the dimensions are. Those dimensions are fine, but the thickness on it is 15 and a half. That's pretty thick, but I realize there's like a twin sensor thing going on, and that thing adds a lot of thickness because the module is probably not that thick. But and then you have a 20 millimeter lug opening, and then you just have these 4 buttons with the this one being recessed. This is the adjust button. They recess it so you don't accidentally go into the adjust mode and then mess up all your settings. So it's more protected. The weight with this FKM rubber strap weighs 97 grams. It is all a base titanium or a grade 2 titanium watch, which I am a huge fan of titanium watches. That's just how that just turns out that way. So let's take a closer look at it. You can see it's very legible, very clean. And you know, the titanium is going to show more scratches, but overall, this is how the watch came to me. I don't think I've put any scratches on it. So whatever scratches are on it were from the prior owners. But the display is very legible. I think it's a good size, it's a good use of space, and it's well laid out. The only thing, I don't automatically know the conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and there's, as far as I can tell, intuitive way to change that. I don't see any way to change that. The other downside I could see, because this is a dive watch and it does store data from your dives, but with a 2-year battery life, every time you change that battery, that information is wiped. So you need to like write that down somewhere in your dive journal if you are a diver. I'm not. So those aren't going to matter to me. But you can see, can you see? Can you see? Yes. So there's a little black bar right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's under the time part of the, there you go. So if I hit the mode button, it's going to jump over to log. Well, you can see it's on 20. So 20 is the max. And you can scroll down or up with these 2 buttons, and that's where your data would be stored from the dives. The information stored on the dives would be your depth, of course. It's a twin sensor. And it will sample, once you enter into the dive, it'll sample the depth every 3 seconds. I think every 20 seconds, it pulls a sample for the temperature and something else, duration or something. I don't know, but it'll log that information. It'll be displayed. I don't know, maybe if I go swimming with it one time, I can try to log, but I'm not going to dive. So next up, this here is profile. So I'm not 100% sure what you're supposed to do with this. So I'm not sure what that is, to be honest with you. And then there's your alarm and back to your time. There might be some other little functions to do, but unlike like the Citizen Hyper Aqualand I had, that linked up with some software, which is no one's going to have because it had like a floppy and you'd have to have probably an older computer or something like that, but you could download that data. And any of you divers will probably chime in on this, and dive computers are done in a completely different fashion, and that information is data probably goes over to your phone or tablet or whatever to document all that stuff. This watch doesn't do that. This is old. This is prior to any of that technology existing. So it's very basic. So where was this bought, sold, used? I suspect in the same type of scenario that this Citizen Hyper Aqualand was done. It was probably sold at dive shops, at tourist locations where people were experimenting with diving, and maybe a couple of professional areas. If you have one of these and it's like you're one of the original owners and you're watching this video, please chime in down in the comments. Let us know, like, when did you buy it? Why did you buy it? Was it valid purchase? Like all of that stuff like that. Because that's all stuff that we fantasize about. None of us dive that typically wear this watch. Very few do. So it's really, really cool to me when people that do actually use these tool watches for their intended purpose can chime in and share that information with us. So I have this strap here is a Watches of Espionage. And that's funny too, because it says use your tools. And I was literally just talking about that strap. But I did just get from my buddy Jeff McMahon these straps. And of course I have a bunch of Strap Habit straps that I'll use. But this strap right here, the diving core strap, I think would work really good on that too. These are excellent straps. I'll put a link down below because I can't really provide a link to the watch. But I'll put a link down below for the Watches of Espionage strap and a link for that diving core strap, which I have on my Tudor belly right now. That's a really cool strap, as is this one. I like them both. I like the Strap Habit. You guys know I'm a fan of the FKM rubber. I traditionally only wear the Strap Habit ones just because they're so affordable and so many options. But here it is on my 7¼ inch wrist. Love the way it wears. I am going to switch this over to this strap. I suspect it's going to be phenomenal on this. Like these are incredible. Seriously, go buy one of these. You can get them in, there's only a couple of colorways, but 20 and 22 millimeter. If you want to like have something that's a little more unique, a little more special, very cool, go pick one up. I'll try to do a video independently on those straps. These are incredible straps. I really like those. So here it is on wrist. And of course there is a backlight function. I'll show you that real quick. I'll turn off the studio lights if I can get this thing off my wrist. I will say this strap, as good as it is, the Strap Habit ones are easier to take on and off. This is a good strap, don't get me wrong, but it's just the Strap Habit ones are just better. I'm trying to look to see where the heck the light button is instead of just hitting buttons. Okay, it's the top right. There you go. Nice green backlight. So thanks for watching, guys. I know I went long on this, but I'm excited about this watch. So I'll see you on the next one.